Let's do that again, but without the emails on the screen behind me. Hi folks, and welcome to another 5 Minute Friday here on Meaningful Money. Great to see you once again, all your lovely smiling faces. This is what you call a quick and dirty video because it's already 5 on Thursday afternoon. I gotta shoot something to edit it tonight to get it up on the website for 5 Minute Friday. Otherwise, it's 5 Minute Saturday and that doesn't sound anything like as good. So, I'm slightly sweaty, the lighting is rubbish, it's probably bouncing all over the place. I've no idea really whether I'm in focus, but you know what? It's the content that matters. So let's crack on. I've had a question from Martin who asks about past performance being no guide to future performance. You know, that caveat that's on everything you always see if ever you're looking at a possible fund to invest in. Past performance is no guide or not necessarily a guide to future performance. Why is that even there? Martin asked that question, and so let's put 5 minutes on the clock down here, round about there, something like that, and let me try and answer Martin's question. Okay, so past performance is no guide to future performance. Now, you know why they put that there, right? They put it there so that they can't be sued in the future by somebody saying, well, I bought this fund on the strength of the performance that you have quoted. You have not delivered that performance, therefore I have been missold or whatever. So it's a caveat. You understand why it's there. It's there for the fund providers, the investment providers to protect themselves. But anybody with any brain can understand that surely past performance must be some guide to future performance. So let's try and unpack that a little bit. Firstly, if you think about what investment performance is, it's a fund manager trying to deliver returns for their investors. And there's a million factors at play. One, of course, is the markets themselves. So how well are the markets doing or how badly? Markets, obviously, if you're invested in markets and the markets are having a bad day, then you're going to have a bad day to a greater or lesser extent. And that depends on the strategy you use. So are you applying a value strategy or a growth strategy to the investments that you're buying as a fund manager? The market has no strategy, it just is the market. If you overlay a strategy on top of that, that strategy will either work for you or against you on any given day, depending on what the market's doing. Then, of course, you've got the individual decisions that a manager and his or her team might make. Should I buy Vodafone or should I buy AstraZeneca or vice versa? Or should I skip pharmaceutical companies altogether and instead buy miners or banks or whatever? Those are the individual decisions which also will dictate or inform the performance or otherwise of the fund. If you're invested in a passive fund where there is no manager decisions taking place, then it depends on the tracking method. How is the fund attempting to track its chosen index? Depending on that algorithm, it's going to make a difference to the performance or otherwise of the fund. But those are all contributors to absolute performance, how well the fund has done relative to nothing else. It's absolute performance. When you consider how the fund has done relative to A, the market that it's generally investing in, and B, its peer group, really noisy truck going past the window. It's okay though, it's gone now. Honestly, it was easier outside in the graveyard last week. So if you are looking at a fund and considering a fund to buy, when you think about past performance, look at that relative to the market as a whole and its peers. So if, when you look at the 100 or so funds in a peer group, if the fund you are looking at is at the bottom of that peer group or towards the bottom, you've got to ask why. Was it the manager decisions? Was it the specific strategy that the fund is using? And if so, probably that strategy is not working. Those decisions are not working. A little bit of a frog in the throat. It's very warm in here. I should have a drink a minute, bear with. That's better. Managed not to splash water on my glasses too. That's always a bonus. So look at relative performance relative to peers. If it's underperformed its peers, there's got to be a reason, and then that's your job as the potential investor to work out what that reason might be. Has another fund or fund group in the sector taken a different strategy, made different decisions? You're going to need to find out why, what happened, what difference it made. You can look at past performance relative to the market. So if you are looking at, say, a UK equity income fund, probably that's investing in mostly large UK funds. Well, then you can look at the FTSE 100, FTSE 250, and see, well, what did the market do and how did the fund react in those circumstances? Then you can think, well, did the manager, did the strategy work in that environment? Did it reduce some of the drops? Did it catch the uptick when the market turned around? You've got to think about performance relative to the market and the peers, otherwise what's the point? Because if you look at it in the abstract, then there's absolutely no way of knowing whether past performance is any guide to future performance. But if a fund has performed well in times of market difficulty in the past, then it's not too much of a stretch to say that, well, it might perform okay in times of market difficulty in the future. But it's no guarantee. The decisions that the manager made, which did well in the past, may not. They may make very similar decisions in the future, and they may not bear out in the same way because there's just too many factors. So, an extremely off-the-cuff video, no idea how long it's going to be, and I need to get a bit more prepared for these. But hope it was useful. Martin, thanks for the question. If you've got any questions that you want me to answer here on 5 Minute Friday, meaningfulmoney.tv/askpete. See you next week.